Go!
Après V, Codger Biker here. My good friend Rob, who lives way north of the border in Paradise and is a great mate, a YouTube collaborator, has set a challenge. And the challenge is, if money were no object, what accessory would I fit to each of my bikes? I can only have one, but money is no object, which is good coming from a Scotsman and breaks the mould of the stereotype. And hopefully he's going to pay. Anyway, here's my choices. First up, let's have a look at my NT1100. Now, I absolutely adore my NT1100 when I'm sitting on it. It rides perfectly for me. Everything about it feels great for me, and there's nothing I would change about it. Alright, the throttle's a little snatchy, but you get used to it. Just run it in rain mode, you still get full power. But the one thing that doesn't set my heart on fire is looking at it from the front. And that's the last thing you see when you walk away from a bike, isn't it? I don't understand it. To me, the front end is too low. Sorry, Honda. But you already had the front end that the bike could have had from the past. Here's a morph to show you what I mean.
Probably put out a Newlands Pass video at some point, and then
So my accessory for this bike would be a new fairing kit with elevated headlights, just like, what's that bike now? Oh yes, the Ducati Desert X. So I'd suggest some sort of front end. It'd have to be bespoke because I don't know of anyone who makes it. But Rob's paying, so hey. I'll have the old Africa Twin front end with LED headlights, twin headlights on the front of my NT1100, and then that bike would be a keeper forever.
Traversing the Newlands Pass.
Well, the next bike that I'd like to address, and it hasn't featured much on my channel as yet, although I've been busy with it in the background, is the Royal Enfield Interceptor 650. Now, I adore this bike. There really isn't anything I'd want to change. The little bits and pieces that I did want to change, I've already added to it. Parts are really cheap compared to other bikes and arrived from India within a week. And so far, I've not been let down once, so I can only say getting accessories for this bike, basic ones, such as I'd need, are easy to get. The only difficult part was the Beeline Moto mount, which had 3D printed and had to adapt for the newer Beeline. But it works just great. So there's nothing that I would want to add to my bike. However, there is something I would like to remove from it. I'd like to get rid of the carrier that I've added. Not that there's anything wrong with the carrier. There will be a video on it at some point. But I prefer the shape of the bike without a carrier and without the tail bag. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of an inner tube phobe and always on the lookout for punctures. I think I was traumatized when I worked as a tyre fitter for 1 year in the 80s. So I have the rack and I have the tail bag. I'd like to lose those. Now, why do I have the tail bag? Well, it has my puncture repair kit and, more to the point, a battery operated compressor, which is very good. I use it to pump the car up, so it easily does the bike. But it's a little bulky. So I got to thinking about my MZ. And on my MZ, under the seat, is the East German version of a compressor. So I think I'd like to get something like that, fit it to the Enfield so that it didn't need the tail bag, and then just tuck away in the toolbox compartment the dyno plugs that I carry, and that way I could pump the tyre up manually. So, Rob, a low-tech solution maybe, which won't cost you very much at all. 20 quid maybe at the most. What do you think? Trust MZ to have solved that problem 50 years ago. But for now, the carrier remains. It's actually very useful.
My old MZ used to have. I lost my MZ. Well past 6,000 revs.
Now my third bike is a 1984 MZ TS125 two-stroke, my own bike from back in the day. And really, there's nothing I'd add to that bike. Possibly heated grips or a 12-volt system, but I really don't feel the need. I enjoy that bike just for what it is.
Right, are you going to start now? I've given you all that praise. What do you reckon? Fantastic.
The only thing I'd fit, if money was no object, and it was possible, would be the flux capacitor from Back to the Future. Because what I'd really like to do is go back to the time when I got that bike and ride around in the 1980s just one more time. Just to remind myself what the world was like then, how different it was, and almost what it was like to be young.
Was kann Julchen nicht?
Zugabe! 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 Mach nicht so ein Krachmädel!
Now the bike does achieve that when I ride it around in modern traffic, but it would be so much more enjoyable to go back to 1984 Lincolnshire and ride that bike along the coast from Skegness to Cleethorpes one last time in the surroundings in which I grew up. Now that's probably asking a little bit too much and not really within the remit of the video, but I'm a romantic and that's what I choose. So, thanks for watching my video. Now please go and watch Rob, who's probably come up with some far better accessory ideas than me, and maybe you could suggest in the comments the accessories I should have picked, because I've no doubt you've got better ideas than me. On that note, thanks for watching. Codger Biker is out.
Winds holders up a bit and the corner. Pin it. Not bad.